You're listening to the Boston Greeks podcast with Adi and Foti. They've been bringing Greek culture online since 1998, and now they're bringing you the best Greek guests Boston has to offer. So grab your kafedaki and join us.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Boston Greeks podcast. We have a very exciting episode today. We have somebody who is very influential, very key player in the Hellenic culture of Boston, and he's coming right up. But before that, let me introduce my co-host, Paul Tsitsopoulos. Hi, Foti, how are you?
Sorry, I'm great. I'm just as excited as you are, maybe more. Because as always, these episodes that we bring to you, we're always excited about the fact that there's so many interesting guests in our local area who are doing great things for our community and for our culture.
Well, you mentioned that, and I don't think it gets better than our guest today. I think we got a top notch right here. So,
without further ado, let's invite our guest, who is also a good friend, but also, as you mentioned, an iconic leader representing an established, amazing organization that I'm very grateful to be a part of. Let's bring on Paul Tsitsopoulos, the current president of the Alpha Omega Council. Paul, welcome to the show.
Gentlemen, glad to be here. Nice to see you, Ari and Foti. Very excited to be a part of this great podcast series, and thank you for the opportunity to join you.
And thank you for taking the time, because we know that this is some busy times for your organization and for you as president. I can't even imagine. There's a lot going on. Foti, do you want to get the ball rolling on stuff?
Before we get into that, Ari, let's talk to Paul about. Briefly, all of our guests come from a similar background. Locally, we always like to know where you grew up, and as a Greek American, some of the journeys that you took from a kid to where you are today.
Sure. So, I'm a local product, born and bred, and have always been here in the Boston area. My roots from Greece are Thessaloniki and Makedonas. So, my dad is from the Kalamaria area. And my mom is from the Kozani area, from a small village up there in Kaloneti. So here in the U.S., I was born in Boston, grew up in Arlington and Lexington, and very active in the community. I was thinking about what I wanted to kind of talk about with regards to my community activities, and it started really early. Started with the church at St. Athanasius in Arlington.
Mm-hmm.
I was baptized there, and very proud to say still a member of St. Athanasius. There, I participated in Goya basketball, young adults. I think I was the first president of our young adult league back in the early '90s. Eventually joined the parish council and served as parish council president there for another 5 years, back in the mid 2000s, and then around 2014, 15, around that time. And that was an exciting period for our church, as we had purchased a new church, and that was part of that entire process of moving to our new location. Other things that I did that people may recognize me from. I was a Greek DJ, which you guys may not know.
All right.
My dad had started Apollo Sound, and I used to go with him back when the speakers were taller than me, and would help him carry I was his roadie. Eventually, I began to go on my own, and very proud to say that that's an important part of my culture, and music is everything to me.
Of course. And did you carry the name Apollo Sound with you, or did you?
I did, yeah. Okay. Myself, my brother also. It's very cool when you can go. You can have a couple where you do their engagement, and then they get married, and then you go and you do their christening for their kids.
Yeah.
And then a number of years later, you end up going to DJ at the kid's wedding.
Wow.
So those were some very cool times.
You are like the exact like the epitome, the personification of the Greek American experience right there. It's all exactly how I would imagine somebody, a Greek American born, and then, the way they grew up and the way they were part of the church, the way they were part of the kind of Greek scene, and then, the leader of like this great organization. I mean, it's perfect. Paul, you are perfect for what you're doing.
I don't know about perfect. Definitely not there, but I'll throw in one more fun fact. So in my late teens and early 20s, I was also a member of the Sons and Daughters of Alexander the Great dance group with George Papadopoulos. And that was another great time where we got to learn a lot of the ethnic dances. We traveled all around New England. We actually traveled all the way to Greece and performed in Greece. And that was also a lot of fun. And I can say that George is still very active with the dance group, and I'm always excited to see them perform.
Wow.
There you go. What a package there, huh?
Yeah.
Music,
it's like
dancing,
it's every aspect of our lives is right there.
Basketball. I mean, wow. I mean, now I'm being really nostalgic because, reflecting what you're saying, like I'm just trying to go to the timeline of our experiences, going to our church and being part of Goya and participating in basketball and going on trips, whether it be we had the winter trips, the ski trips with Goyas, and then having the dances at the church with a Greek DJ. And so,
we've lost a lot of those things just because there's so many other competing priorities in people's lives, and there's not quite as many, say, Goya dances and the dances we had with all the organizations. Used to be, when we were growing up, I think every week or at least twice a month, you'd have some organization having those dances. And unfortunately, it's not quite as active. The community isn't quite as active. And that's one of the things that we try to do with Alpha Omega Council, is to try to make sure that we don't lose those connections and people don't forget about who the Greeks are and what our community is all about.
Yeah. And having said that, Paul, I'm sorry, go ahead, Ari.
I was just going to say very quickly, I'm very happy you said that because, Foti and I, with all the stuff that we do within the Greek community, our greatest fear is that our children will never kind of feel or achieve that level of what it was to be Greek and growing up Greek here. And, all the things that went into it, we try. And, you saying that Alpha Omega wants to help that process is such a great thing, especially for young parents to hear, because we really want our kids to have that Greek American experience like we did.
That's right. It's in the fabric of our very lives, and we want to make sure that others have that same experience.
Yeah.
And having said that, Paul, mentioning Alpha Omega, when did you get introduced to this amazing organization?
So the first time I heard about Alpha Omega, actually, when I was DJing, we had DJed a few of their events, early on, but I never imagined that I would actually be a member of the organization. Number of years later, probably about 13 years ago, I was invited to go to a meeting from a friend who was a member there. And I went, and I realized that I knew a number of the people there, and that the mission of the organization was something that really meant something to me. It drew me in, and was very honored to be invited to be a part of the organization.
And then after that, as far as that goes, the journey continues where now you are the current sitting president of the Alpha Omega Council. That's
correct. Yeah, I'm very honored to take this role. The organization itself was founded in 1976, so we're approaching our 50-year anniversary.
Wow.
It was founded by Peter Agris, and many people may recall he was the founder of the Hellenic Chronicle, the Greek American newspaper we had as we were growing up. We're over 100 members strong right now, and it has an organization that has Greek Americans from all aspects of industry. We have doctors, lawyers, engineers, finance people, restaurateurs, real estate people, entertainers, you name it, entrepreneurs, you name it. There's a person in the organization that is doing that, which kind of makes it exciting. You get to meet and learn about people's journeys and what's important to them. the mission of the organization, we say it's to cultivate the ideals of Hellenism and to bring together Americans of Hellenic ancestry in fellowship and philanthropy. So there's a lot there, but it really kind of boils down to we care about our heritage. We want to make sure that people know that and don't lose that. We care about helping and the philanthropic aspects of what we do. And then the thing that's really important to all of us as Greeks, we care about the pareia. So, the fellowship aspects, getting together with other Greek Americans and really enjoying each other's company. That's an important piece of our organization. So
Absolutely. And I can vouch for that myself.
And I'm actually not an active member, and the only reason is because I'm currently not living in Boston. But once I get back to Boston, 100%, because I've been to many events, and man, anybody out there who hasn't been or doesn't know, I mean, they're just such great events. Like what you said about that feeling of camaraderie, about that feeling of participation, about like accomplishing something, especially if you care about your Greek culture and your Greek community. I mean, there's nothing better in my opinion. So, I mean, kudos to you guys.
So maybe you can convince your wife that the reason you got to move back is because you need to be a member of Alpha Omega.
It is that easy, Fatih. I'll just let her know.
But I've been married long enough to know that that's not the right answer.
Exactly.
But Paul, you were mentioning about the great events and initiatives that Alpha Omega continues to put on through the years that pretty much creates an impact in our local communities from the Boston, Massachusetts, New England area. But having said that, there is something that I believe is one of the most amazing events that I've been a part of that's coming up pretty soon, which I wanted to give the opportunity to discuss, the upcoming wreath ceremony at the Greek consulate in Boston.
Yeah, this is one of our premier events. Very excited to say that it's happening next on Thursday, April 11th, at the consulate. It is the 40th anniversary of the first wreath ceremony, and what this is it's an opportunity for the people of Greece through the Greek consulate, with support from Alpha Omega Council, to bring wreaths from the plains of Marathon, Greece. They go to the very fields where the soldiers are buried, and they cut branches off the olive trees, and they form these wreaths. We have them gilded in gold, and they are brought to Boston, where we present those to the Boston Athletic Association, the BAA, to crown the runners, the winners of the Boston Marathon, which is happening on April 15th this year. So this is a ceremony that has been going on for 40 years now. It's not there were other times when we had wreaths put on the runners' heads. I think the first recorded instance of that happening was back in the mid 30s. We had a gentleman, another great Greek American from Boston, George Demeter, who was, I think, the first person to begin to crown the marathon runners. But the last 40 years, we've made it a formal ceremony where we work very closely with the BAA and the consulate to present these wreaths.
As a Greek American, hearing that, I think it is such a cool thing to do. I mean, the marathon's rooted in Greece, and you guys are doing like this whole formal ceremony that just sounds so good, and it's such a cool thing for me to hear. I love it.
Yeah, it really is. The number of parallels we have that are going on between the marathon, Boston, and Greece are pretty amazing. You talk about the Battle of Marathon. Boston Marathon takes place on Patriots Day, right? Mm-hmm. And Patriots Day is rooted in the day when the Minutemen had the shot heard around the world, when they met up with the Redcoats on Lexington's Battle Green, and they fired that shot. So to us here in Boston, that's very important, because that's when we began to fight for our freedom, to establish the United States the way we know it today. And that's the parallel back to the Battle of Marathon, where the runner Phidippides came back from Marathon to express that, to exclaim that we won. And and that was the fight for freedom. So that is one parallel, why it happens on Patriots Day. And then another great story again with the wreaths. The wreaths that we present have a name of Stylianos Kyriakidis on the bottom of them. And Kyriakidis was a Greek who came and ran in the Boston Marathon in 1946. And believe it or not, he won the marathon in 1946. But he came not purely to run and win for himself, but he came to run for his country, for Greece, because in 46, Greece was just coming out of World War II, coming out of the Civil War, and the country, the people were starving, and they were still trying to recover from their battles. And he wanted to do something to help his countrymen. So he came to Boston in an effort to raise awareness of the battles and the struggles that the people in Greece were going through. So he wanted to come and simply to raise awareness and hopefully to collect some money, collect some supplies, and bring it back to Greece with him. So he began to run, and he was an established runner. Right? He ran in the 1936 Olympics in Berlin. So he ran in the Berlin Olympics, and when he was there, he met the great Johnny Kelly, who was a Boston Marathon legend. Johnny Kelly had invited him to come and run Boston. So in 46, when they were running, he was running stride for stride with Johnny Kelly, and they were leading the pack. And he began to, tire and, wasn't sure he'd be able to pull through. And someone jumps out of the crowd and says, "Yatin alada." And, you hear the stories from Kyriakidis. He says, that brought me to another level. And that propelled him to win the Boston Marathon. He beat Johnny Kelly. And that is one of the great Boston Marathon races, that race itself. So that's cool, but that's not the end of it, because it turns out with his victory, he became a hero. Everybody learned about him, and he went back to Greece with millions of dollars and boatloads of supplies, going back as a hero to parades, but with supplies to help his fellow countrymen.
Wow.
And what that was the very first charity run of the Boston Marathon. So the Boston Marathon today, they have 30,000 runners running on the 15th, 30,000. The vast majority of those runners are amateurs, and they're all charity runners. So what this Greek did in 1946, he established the first charity run, which is now what we all know the Boston Marathon to be. So, the parallels between the wreath, what the wreath means, the olive wreath means to the Greeks, being, transcended and brought here to Boston, the marathon, the fight for freedom, fight for democracy, the first charity run, all these things are tied back to our heritage, and it's kind of what makes it really great.
That's amazing. And you know what? I didn't expect to be kind of sucked into a story on this interview, and that story completely sucked me in. Like, that was something I learned something new today. Wow, Paul, that was amazing.
And thanks for sharing that, because I'm sure a majority of our audience will probably feel the same.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a shame that not many more people know about it. And that's kind of one of the missions of Alpha Omega, is to help with the education. We actually have an education forum where we're working with the kids, with middle school kids from Hopkinton, from Ashland, where the marathon starts. And now we've also included schools in Boston Latin Academy, Boston Latin School. And these kids have an opportunity now inserted into their curriculum to learn about the Battle of Marathon. They learn about civics. They learn about democracy and how all of these things started in ancient Greece, and how these are the things that were brought here and helped to found the U.S., the United States, and what our democracy was built on. So there are lessons that come out of the marathon that are really fundamental to our democracy and to our country. So Alpha Omega works to do that. The kids, they learn about it, then they write an essay, And all these essays are then judged. So we work with several classics professors from Harvard and from BU and from Emmanuel College, and they read the essays and they judge them, and we have winners, and then we present the winners with awards for those great essays. So there's an educational aspect to all of this thing that we do that it helps to continue to promote our heritage and the ideals that came out of Greece.
Amazing. We need more of what's happening today as far as these initiatives, participations, involvements, the volunteering as well, because it takes an army of individuals to put such great events together. At the same token, on the topic of great events and so forth, Paul, there's another great initiative that Alpha Omega puts together, which is the Greek Heritage Night.
That's right.
And as a Boston sports fan of all sports, this is right up my alley because it's, for me, I feel so proud to be a part of the fact that we, first of all, having the best sports teams in the world.
You got it.
And being Greek, we kind of put this together. But can you share the topic of the Greek Heritage Night?
Absolutely. So Greek Heritage Night, this started probably over 10 years ago. In a less organized way, there were some groups that began a Greek Heritage Night. But over the last several years, Alpha Omega has kind of stepped up and began to formalize it and make this a little bit more elaborate type of event. So this upcoming June 4th, Tuesday, June 4th, we are having Greek Heritage Night at the Red Sox, where the Red Sox are going to take on the Atlanta Braves. And we're opening this up, as always, to the entire Greek American community. There are tickets. If you go to the Red Sox ticket site and you search for Greek celebration, you'll find tickets for the Greek Heritage Night sections. But the cool stuff that happens around that day is we're going to have on Yawkey Way, I don't know if they still call it Yawkey Way, but we're going to have Greek dancers. So we'll have members of several of the dance groups get together and perform ethnic dances right there as all of the people, the thousands of people coming into Fenway, they'll get to see the Greek dances going on. Then we have the Greek Ev Zones. They are our color guard. So when the national anthem is sung, we have the Ev Zones come out and they carry the flags, the American flag and the Massachusetts flag, and we have the Greek flag also there.
Wow.
We haven't been able to convince the Red Sox to sing the Greek national anthem along with the U.S. national anthem, but we're still working on that. We are able to secure a Greek American singer to actually sing the national anthem. So someone from our community comes out and will sing the national anthem. Awesome. We have what else? We're going to have honor an organization that is doing great things, a nonprofit within the community with our Hats Off to Heroes. So there are different aspects of the night, which all tie back to our Greek American community. It's not about Alpha Omega; it's about the community at large. And you see that when you see everyone walking around with those Greek Heritage Night jerseys, the Red Sox jerseys with the Greek flags. And this year we have a new addition, which is very cool. The jersey itself was similar with the Red Sox in the front, but on the back we're going to have a number 24 with the Greek colors, and on top it says Hellas.
Wow.
So,
awesome.
or maybe it says Greece. Yeah. So it's a very cool jersey this year. So we hope that everyone can be a part of it. This started off as just a way of getting people together, but we've also been able to turn this into a fundraiser. So in the past, last year, we collected funds, and those funds, we're happy to say $25,000 are going to go towards the Metropolis of Boston camp for the new field house that is being built there. So that came from last year's Greek Heritage Night celebration, and we hope to be able to do something similar in the coming year to increase that number. But that was a start for us.
That's
amazing.
Great. And Paul, the Heritage Night doesn't just include Red Sox, but it's also the Celtics. And recently, which I wasn't able to attend, was the New England Revolution.
That's right. The New England Revolution in downpouring rain, but we did have a small contingent there. That was our first foray into to soccer, Greek Heritage Night. That was the first step. I can say that the New England Revolution are excited about it, and we're working with them to do something significantly larger, to include tailgating, a section of the parking lot secured for tailgating. We talked about maybe doing some clinics with kids on the field before the game. So maybe we can get a couple of lambs on a spit. I need the Sula in the parking lot. Let's see what we can do.
Help me in.
Love it.
Help me in. Oh, this is great.
We'll have to find some wine for that, Foti, if you can help us.
Oh, absolutely. We'll bring the wine truck. We'll back it up.
You're on. I'm going to remember that.
Yes. Well, I mean, Paul, this has been fabulous as far as listening to your journey as an icon in the community. Currently, as a leader now, running and spearheading Alpha Omega and all the great initiatives that the organization brings to our community. Any last minute thoughts or anything that you want to end us off with as we kind of soak all of this in?
I guess I want to thank you guys for doing what you do here, because you, like everything that I do, are focusing on bringing our Greek community together. And it's so important because here, as time goes on, it gets more and more difficult for us to remember our roots and to be proud of them. I'm very proud to be an American, but also very proud of my culture and my heritage. And I want my kids to remember that. And, it's important for all of us to work together to do that. And you do that through service, through volunteerism. Everything that happens that's good typically is done by volunteers. So it's important for everyone that's listening to get engaged, whether it's with your church or a nonprofit or some other organization. Do something, and it's not about making money. It's about doing good and continuing on the good work that our ancestors did, and having a little bit of that philokimo, which is so important to us as Greeks, to make sure people see that, and not just the Greeks, because I think the Greeks know that, but it's also important for the non-Greeks to recognize that there's a lot of value in our history and in our people, and that's what makes us great as Greeks. It's our people.
Well said.
Very well said. Very well said. I mean, Paul, that you hit the nail on the head with everything that Foti and I have always believed in, have always worked towards. And it's really refreshing for a gentleman such as yourself to be a leader of a great organization such as Alpha Omega. And we know that the Greek community, at least here in Boston, is in good hands with you guys. So we appreciate what you do. We appreciate all the efforts, and thank you for the service that you do.
Now, thank you guys. And listen, I'm just a steward of what I'm doing. There's an army of volunteers, an army of people alongside me that really make things happen. And just like you guys, you recruit everybody. That's what we do. We help to recruit and to organize and to make it easy for people to get stuff done.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Another great episode, Ari.
Yes, very inspirational as well. Like I said before, we appreciate these efforts that individuals such as yourself and the people behind you and to the side of you, everybody that does what they do to service our community, I mean, is very much appreciated. And it's just a great thing. It's what we grew up with. It's what we believe in. It is our life and our reality. This is it. And we need people to do what they do to keep it going. And we thank you once again.
Thank you, Paul.
All right, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All
right. Everybody out there, thank you for watching and listening. Thank you to Paul Tsitsopoulos, the current president of the Alpha Omega Council. Thank you, Foti. And thanks everybody out there. We'll see you guys next time.
See you.